Hi, my name is Amulya. Welcome to my channel. So, I am a food technology student and I'm currently in third year of my graduation. I also write poetry in my free time. I'll leave a link to my page down below. So, during these 3 years, I've realized that people have a lot of misconceptions regarding food technology, food processing, and nutrition in general. So, today we are going to delve deeper into the world of food technology and food sciences, and we're going to be debunking a lot top 5 food myths that people believe. Now let me put on my glasses to look more intellectual. So the first myth is that carbohydrates are bad for you. A lot of people believe that carbohydrates cause fat deposition in our body, which is not true. So there was a study conducted which indicated that carbohydrate consumption leads to carbohydrate oxidation as well as storage of glucose as glycogen in our body. So all the carbohydrates that we consume get broken down into glucose, which is a simple sugar, and it further gets stored as glycogen, which provides us energy. Which means that carbohydrates are very essential in order for our body to function. It is often assumed that an excess in carbohydrate intake directly relates to fat deposition in our body, which is not true. The reason that people believe this is because there was a study which showed that this metabolic process, which converts carbohydrates into fat in bodies, is very important in case of young rodents. So due to this study, a lot of obese patients are told to control their carbohydrate intake, but that can also be to lower their caloric intake and to reduce the food that they consume. Some evidence also shows that this process is not directly related to fat deposition in humans, and also it shows that dietary carbohydrate leads to more glucose oxidation, which means if you intake carbohydrate, that also promotes breakdown of carbohydrates. So it's kind of like a cycle. There have also been many studies which show that low GI, which means low glycemic index foods, which break down slower in our body, and they do not cause a spike in blood sugar very instantly. They also reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes in a lot of patients, and a diet rich in whole grains would be considered as a low GI diet. So carbohydrates not only do not cause fat deposition, they also may help in reducing the risk for diabetes, which also debunks that in diabetes people cannot consume any kind of carbohydrates. They can, but they should be high in fiber and low in glycemic index. And these studies show that not all carbohydrates are inherently bad, but an important thing to note is that excessive consumption of refined carbohydrate sources with little to no fiber may pose a higher risk for cardiovascular diseases such as like refined flour and refined sugar, etc. So we should limit their intake in our diet. The second myth is that eating more often, which means eating smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day, will cause a boost in your metabolism. So there was an experiment conducted over 2 consecutive weeks where different subjects or different volunteers were given meals according to different meal frequencies, and their eating patterns were also recorded. After the entire research, it was concluded that there is no significant effect of meal frequencies on ADMR, which is average daily metabolic rate, which shows that there is no such correlation between meal frequency and metabolic rate. Also, it has been shown in some cases that eating smaller, more frequent meals may cause in overconsumption of food and may lead to weight gain instead of weight loss. So the third myth is that raw foods are always healthier than cooked foods, which is not true. It might be true for some cases where vitamin C and some other nutrients which are heat labile, which means they get destroyed upon heating, may get lowered, and it may reduce the nutritional quality. But in some foods, cooking foods also improves the nutritional quality. Here are some foods which are healthier raw, and also there I will also be sharing a list of foods that are healthier when they're cooked. So broccoli, cabbage, onions and garlic are a lot better when they're raw. In broccoli, there is a cancer fighting plant compound which is an antioxidant, which gets destroyed in cooked broccoli. In cabbage, there is an enzyme which also plays a role in cancer prevention. And in cooking of cabbage, when you cook it for a long time, this compound may get destroyed. In raw onions, there is an anti-platelet agent which contributes to heart disease prevention, and cooking the onions may reduce this beneficial effect. And in garlic also, there are some sulfur compounds that have some antioxidant properties, and cooking the garlic may destroy these sulfur compounds, which is why we say that consuming raw onions and raw garlic is good for your health. So now we're going to discuss some foods that are healthier when they're cooked. So asparagus, cooking it will break down its fibrous cell walls, making folate and vitamin A, C and E more available to be absorbed, which means that if you cook it, we will be able to consume these, we will be able to absorb these nutrients a lot better in our body. Then cooking of mushrooms also helps release some antioxidants which are beneficial to our health. In spinach, some nutrients like iron, magnesium, calcium and zinc also become more available for absorption in our body when the spinach is cooked. In tomatoes and carrots, there are some coloring compounds like lycopene and beta-carotene which also have some antioxidant properties, and cooking of these vegetables causes an increase in their amount. Raw or undercooked legumes contain dangerous toxins called lectins, and they can be eliminated with proper soaking and cooking of these, so they should not be consumed raw. The fourth myth is that getting nutrients from food is always superior to getting nutrients from supplements. Now this may be true in a lot of cases, and obviously you cannot replace food with supplements, but in some cases supplements can also be essential. For example, in elderly people there is a higher risk of vitamin D deficiency and vitamin B12 and calcium deficiency, so they may need to supplement these with their diet to prevent a risk of osteoporosis and osteomalacia, which are also caused by poor bone health. For vegans and vegetarians, there can be a higher risk for deficiency of vitamin B12, calcium, zinc, iron and vitamin D, so they may need to supplement their diet with these. Now a lot of the plant-based milks and nutritional yeast etc. are often fortified with these, but in case you're not able to get these nutrients from your diet as a vegan or a vegetarian, you can take the supplements after due consideration by your medical health practitioner. In case of nutritional deficiencies such as anemia, which is a deficiency of iron, these people may also need to consume supplements so as to treat their deficiency. There are some compounds such as curcumin and turmeric which cannot directly be absorbed by our body in its natural form, but if it's taken in its liposomal form or it's supplemented with piperine, which is a black pepper extract, it can be absorbed more easily in our body. Also, folic acid, which is the supplemental form of vitamin B9, is a lot more easier to absorb for our body than folate, which is naturally present in foods. The fifth myth is the most controversial one, I think. So the myth is that microwave food can cause cancer and it's not good for your health, and it may also reduce the nutritional quality. So microwaves do not cause cancer. There is no such established research which shows that there is a link of using microwave ovens and the development of cancer. How microwaves work is that they release electromagnetic energy which heats up the water molecules of the food, thus causing the food to cook. Also, quite the contrary, due to the shorter cook times, it causes less nutritional degradation than other methods of cooking. Some vitamins like vitamin C are heat labile, which means they get destroyed when subjected to heat. So the amount may get reduced, but as compared to boiling or frying, which expose foods to higher temperatures for a lot longer, and some nutrients may leach out into the water or oil, these changes are not caused in microwave cooking, which makes it inherently better. So these were some major food myths that people believe that have now been debunked. If you made it so far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you a lot. I hope you share this video with your friends and family and make them more aware about these food myths so that they do not believe these and they get to know the reality. And I hope you liked the video. If you did, you should give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing for more such videos. Leave your thoughts and comments and suggestions in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.